live.
It's live now. What's up, everybody? This is Don't Know Diaries, page 5. Out here with Luis Ramirez. I wanted to get him on the podcast today because he's a good friend of mine. We were friends since, what was it, junior high? Seventh grade? Yeah?
Yep.
So, where are you going now? The U?
I go to the University of Utah, David School of Business.
Yes. Yep, there you go. University of Utah. Dude, so I wanted to ask you on that.
Sorry, I'm trying to share this. Do you know how to share it?
Live there. Fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's.
Okay. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to ask you what it was like going on that cross country trip.
Cross country trip.
The one on the bus.
The Venture Tiger.
Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy. Okay. So, it was basically like a senior trip.
Okay.
And then our original plan was to go to Hawaii and like surf and like go hiking and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
But we looked at a price for a plane ticket to go to Hawaii, and it was like $600 or something like that. And we're like, yeah, I don't know if we could do that because it was like super expensive, you know, and like
how much? Like a number?
$600 for like the plane ticket to go there. Plus,
round trip?
Yeah, round trip. Plus we had like a hotel.
Oh yeah,
a hotel
sure.
and all these things. So we were like, yeah, I don't know if we can do it, but it was me, my friend Danny, Nathan, Jared, Robin, and Zach.
Uh-huh.
And then we were coming up with these like other ideas. And then our friend Nathan told us that his older brother had like a school bus that like was converted into an RV, and we could take that like on a road trip. So we all came together and we were like, yo, like we can do this. It'll be like more affordable.
Did the brother charge you?
No. He like let us take it for free, and so we just had to like pay diesel and stuff. Yeah, we like planned it out, and then we were able to go to places like Yosemite National Park, Lake Tahoe, Santa Cruz, San Francisco. We went in places in Utah, like Red Rock Conservation Area. We went to Las Vegas. We wanted to go to a strip club. I don't know.
Did they let you?
We had like someone in our group that was 17, so we couldn't.
Wait, but it's 18?
Yeah, you have to be 18 now. There's like 21 and over.
Oh, but that's only because they serve
alcohol.
The one here you can go to, but it's like if
you
want to pay, yeah.
Yeah, but it was definitely lots of fun, and like I feel like the most beautiful thing about it was that there's like other people that are like, yo, like that's so cool, like we want to help you and like stuff, and there's someone from San Francisco that let us stay at their place, but he was like, they were cousins of Danny.
Okay.
And then there's also like in Lake Tahoe this like stranger that we never met before. That was like the neighbor of someone that we knew. He was like, yo, like you guys want to go wakeboarding like tomorrow? It's basically like there's like a boat, and then it has like a rope, and then you like hold it, and then there's like a board, and you just like.
You got on that?
Yeah.
Did it hurt?
Yeah. The water was cold and stuff, but it was lots of fun. Like honestly, I recommend people that graduate from high school to just like go on a trip somewhere. Like it doesn't even have to like cost a lot. Like our trip was like for 10 days, and it was like split amongst 6 people, and it was only like $200
each.
Yeah. So like honestly, like I recommend people to go like on a senior trip after they graduate, because like I don't know, it just feels like really good, and you learn a lot, and like you learn parents are okay with it, but yeah, it was lots of fun.
So when you went on your trip, like what was the best part about it?
The best part, I'd say the best part was like the conflict. No.
The conflict.
Yeah, the conflict resolution. And I say this because like there's like problems that like just like popped up that we didn't expect.
Like what, the bus broke down or what?
So okay, like as an example, there was someone that was driving, and then they were like going like 70 or 80 miles, like 80 miles per hour, because that was the speed limit.
Okay.
And so like since the bus is huge, and if it drives that fast, it creates a lot of like air resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order for that air resistance to compensate for it, like the bus has to use more gas.
Oh.
And so then we checked out the gas mileage, and then it was like it was horrible. It was like 3 miles per gallon.
Holy shit, really?
And we're like, yo, like instead of like spending like let's say $400 for gas, we made the calculation, and we were gonna have to spend like $1,000 or something.
How much did you end up spending? 1,000?
I forgot. I didn't do the numbers, but like we were like, yo, like I don't think we can go on this trip anymore. And like all of us were
because of the gas.
Because of the gas. Because it was like out of our budget. But then we started doing some research and we saw that if you drive slower, that increases the gas mileage because there's less air resistance.
Oh yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
So that was just like a problem. And then once we solved it, there was just like this energy and this like positive vibe and like kind of like this closeness that was built.
So your favorite part was like solving the problems?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. And when I say problems, I don't mean like like problems, you know, like we're like fighting. Or I'm saying
that's what
problems.
I thought.
But when I say like conflict and problems, I'm saying like things pop up and like we like work through them and solve them.
So after what other trips have you gone to? Because I know you did some stuff with them, no?
Mm-hmm. So we went on another like short trip for fall break to Zion's National Park, and that was pretty funny, because so it was me, Danny, Nathan, Zach, and then Robin and Jared couldn't come, which were like people that came with us. But then 2 other people could come, Ben, and this other guy. Shoot, I forgot his name. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. But yeah, so then we all like went on I think it was a 2-day trip. We all went to Zion's and then climbed up Angel's Landing, and it was beautiful, bro. Like it's like this like peak that's like super narrow, and you're just like walking at the top, and like you can see the ledges, and you can like, fall off and die, literally. But there's like chains that you can hold on to and like climb up. And then we didn't just go to Zion's; we also went to Sand Hollow, which is like the lake in St. George.
Have you been to Moab?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I like it.
I do.
You don't like it?
No, dude. I gotta tell you what happened. So, have you been on all the trails?
Not really. I've been to like most of them though.
Have you gone to the hardest one? The one that has like 7. What are those called? Arches? Yeah, 7 arches or whatever.
I don't think so. Is it like all the way at the end?
Yeah, all the way to the end.
I don't think so. Is it the long one?
Yeah, the very long one.
Yeah.
You gone to that one?
Yeah.
Dude, so with that one, like, since it's harder, I was like, it's just gonna be more walking. But there's no trail. Like, there's no trail for you to follow.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
Dude, there's no trail. So we got lost. I was with like 3 friends.
Yeah.
And we got lost. And it was before I had my kid. We didn't know where to go. So eventually, like, we kind of split up. Like, one friend started climbing, like, the mountain, and I was like, dude, I don't think that's the way to go. People would fucking die there. But then he's like, no, come on, you pussy. And I was like, dude, I have, like, a kid waiting for me at home. I can't just be hitting my head everywhere. But I was following him, kind of. So I was like, dude, I can't go back now, because if I go back down, it's this steep hill, and I'm going to, like, end up sliding off. So I went up there, and then I was just screaming his name because I couldn't see him anymore because he fucking booked it, and then I looked back, and then the friends that were behind me left because they went back because they were like, nah, we can't find where to go, so we're leaving. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, I'm all alone here. Like, if I die, nobody's gonna know. Yeah. So I was like, nah, fuck it, you gotta go, dude. Like, if you go down, you're gonna die, but if you go up, like, that's your only way. So I decided to go up, and I finally made it up, and right when I was gonna get to the top, then my friend comes out and he's like, "Oh, let me help you," and I was like, "All right." But we finally got up there, and that was like where it wasn't where you were supposed to go, but it's where it was where you were supposed to go if you followed the trail that there wasn't. Okay. But
so like if there's was a trail, you guys went down here?
Yeah, we went down there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So we're like, what the fuck? And then we got there, and dude, my feet were so dead, it sucked, and it was like hella hot. Yeah. That was the only time I was like, damn, if I die here, like, that's it. I also, have you ever been to Lamb's Canyon?
Where is that? Is that in Utah?
Yeah, it's like by Park City.
I don't think so.
No, it's like off to the road, but well, one day from work, some dude invited me. He's like, dude, my kids don't want to go with me. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, I can try it. So I want to go try it with him. And we went the first time, and he was all trying to show off, so he fucking booked it up the mountain. And we were still in wrestling at that time, so I was pretty fit, so I kept up with him a little bit. And then when we got to the top, it was like a nice view or whatever, and then we came back down, and he was just booking it too. Yeah. But then the second time, we saw a bear, dude. It was like where you are. Dang. That's how close the bear was. Yeah.
Well, you know what type of bear? Like,
it was a black bear.
Black bear?
Yeah. So what happened is we were just starting the trail. Yeah. We were just starting the trail, and we were so excited to see a moose. We're like, dude, we're gonna see a moose today. Let's do it. I'm like, yeah, for sure, let's do it. So we want to go do it. And out of nowhere, we see like leaves moving. So we're like, oh, okay, is that a moose? Yeah, we're like, damn, that's a moose right there. So we got closer and we just started hearing the, and we're like, oh shit, I don't think it's a moose. So we went forward a little more, and then you start hearing like a, so we're like, dude, that's a bear. And we don't know what to fucking do. So you know how they say like make yourself look bigger. So we started yelling at it. We're like, oh, get the fuck out of here, bear.
Then it didn't run away.
At first it didn't. It was just sniffing us down, dude. And we're like, fuck, if we leave, it's gonna come chase us.
That's scary.
But black bears aren't like aggressive.
Yeah.
So we got lucky. But anyway, so
Go ahead.
So we started. This is fucking just breathing. So we're like, oh, get the fuck out of here, bear. And it was like, so let's say we were here. There was a huge like here, and then there's like a little river, and then here's the bear. And then you had to climb this huge hill to get to the other side of the mountain. So the bear was on the other side. So we're like, get the fuck out of here, bear. And it started climbing that hill, but it hid inside like the bushes. So it was stalking us, but we saw like the whole thing. And then we were still there just eyeballing it. And then finally it gets to the top of the hill, that bear. And then that's when it's like, and I'm like, oh, you fucking pussy. Dude, but that was scary. And then we saw a deer after that, which was cool. But it was like this close, dude. I was so scared.
That's crazy. Yeah, when I went to Yosemite National Park, we were scared about the bears too. So one of our friends brought bear spray.
They sell that?
Huh? No, like, well, they say that at Walmart. I think you got it like from Walmart or something.
What is it?
Not bear spray.
Yeah, like what? Like,
it's like pepper spray.
Does it?
But it's like bigger.
Does it
bears.
smell?
I don't know. We didn't use it.
Oh.
But we were like talking to the rangers about like the bears and like if we needed bear spray, and they're like, oh, bear spray is illegal. Like you can't have it in the park. And we were like, oh shoot, like
where was this?
In Yosemite. And then, but basically, like he told us that there's like only black bears there and only grizzly bears, and like black bears, like if you make a lot of noise, then they'll just like run away. But if it's a grizzly and you make a lot of noise, they're called grizzly because they're like super like aggressive, and if you make a lot of noise, boom, they'll just like attack you. So it's like.
Did you ever see one?
No, we didn't.
No, not even a black bear.
Like in my life or at Yosemite?
No, at Yosemite.
No, we didn't.
Have you ever seen this movie called Free Solo? About the
climber?
El
Capitan.
Yeah, have you seen it?
Free climb? No, I haven't seen
it.
Dude, I want to see it so bad.
Dude, it's so good. Dude, that's scary.
I know.
When I had to climb that mountain, I was like, fuck, this is what this dude does for a living. This is scary.
No, yeah, it's crazy. He's like, he's like, I don't know what the word is, but he's.
Well, they tested his brain to see like what was like, if there was like a piece missing. And I guess the piece where fear happens, it's very small in his brain. So he's like, I don't think
he's fearless.
Yeah, he's fearless, but he's like, I just think I worked out so much that. And in the movie, after he climbs that big ass mountain, they ask him to like, so you're gonna go celebrate? He's like, no, I think I'm a hangboard. So he grabs onto this fucking like ledge and he started doing pull-ups. That's what he wanted to do after he just climbed that big ass mountain.
Yeah, I think my friend told me too that like. When they interview him, he's just like this, and he's like,
yeah, he's calm, and then they're like, wait, so you climb that? And then he's like, I don't understand. Like you can do one slip and you'll die, and then he's like, yeah, you pretty much get it. Like, but he said that like 90% of his climbing is done with ropes and stuff. That was just like an exception. Yeah. Dude, so like, how was it starting your own business?
Okay, so the business I started was a little lawn care company.
Yeah, dude, promote yourself.
With my friend Danny. We called it Presidential Lawn Care because him and I were like the president and the vice president, SBO president and SBO vice president of Granger High School. And the reason why we like started a company was not because we were like expecting to make a lot of money and stuff. We started a like lawn care company because we needed like a job that was super flexible, like but still paid good. And like we couldn't find a job like that, you know?
Oh well, yeah.
It's like the scheduling and stuff. So we're like, yo, like let's start our own business. And then we're like, yo, what type of business can we start? And then we're like, oh, like lawn care, because like you mow a lawn for like $20 in an hour, boom, you make $20.
Yeah, exactly. Like
and,
20, you get $20 a house. Yeah. You do 5 houses. That's $100.
Yeah, that's $100 a day. So we're like, yo, like we could do this. So then, but we did it, and like. It's like one thing saying like, yo, if you mow a house for $20.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then an hour, and you work for 8 hours. That's 8 hours. 8 times 20, 160. You can make 160 a day, 80 per person. But like it's one thing saying it, and it's another thing to get the clients and like charge them $20.
Did you have like regular clients or no?
So first we started off with a type of lawn that we called hit it and quit it lawns.
Okay.
So hit it and quit it lawns are basically where we just like walk around the neighborhood, drive around the neighborhood.
Okay.
And then look at the lawns, and if it's like that high, we're like, oh, that's a hit it and quit it lawn, because like the owner of the house or like the guy that's renting like most likely doesn't want to like mow their lawn, and it's like it needs to be mowed because it's like a fire hazard, and so we just like mow it all, and like they pay us a lot because it's like a lot of work, and then
what's the most you got paid for a job?
For one,
yeah,
I think it was like 150 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like a hit it and quit it long too. But
damn.
But then like we found out that hit it and quit it longs weren't like really reliable.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because like it's hard to like find them, and then like once you mow it, like you can't mow it again. And so then we started shifting more into like regular like weekly or bi-weekly lawns, where like people like actually want to mow their lawn like on a consistent basis, not just like one time like every 3 months. And so we started like getting weekly clients or like bi-weekly clients, and that was like more stable. And then there's like this one time where we had to go to like a student government camp. We were able to like to get someone to like fill in for us and then mow the lawn, so we couldn't mow. But
now that you mentioned student government, how was that?
Oh, I don't know if I can talk about that. wait, who's watching?
Dude, it doesn't matter. Nobody's gonna report fucking Granger, dude. Who cares? Just say it. Everybody wants to hear. Dude.
Shoot, is this the day that I expose myself?
Yeah, expose fucking Granger, dude.
Nah, I can't.
Do it. Who cares? Nobody's gonna say anything. Dude, what are they gonna do to you? Oh, he was an ex-student. Let's expel him. Or
nah,
just say it.
I'll take away my diploma.
Fine, then at least just you edit some parts out then.
Okay,
The ones that you think are super bad. Just how was it?
I'm trying to like articulate my words.
Okay, yeah, think about it.
How I can explain it.
Really? It's that bad? That just says it all then.
Nah, it's not. It's just complicated.
I remember you telling me about it one time.
I'll try to explain. So first of all, Danny and I ran for student government because I don't know like how you feel, but like our freshman year was like super fun, and we were like, yo, like what made our freshman year like so fun? And then do you know who Melanie is? Do you remember her?
What she look like?
No, she's like this like Polynesian girl. She's like pretty tall. She was in the basketball team. But she was when we were freshmen, she was a senior. She was the SBO president.
I don't remember.
She was the SBO president when we were freshmen. And like we saw that she like created a lot of school spirit and like a lot of community within Granger, and we felt like the leadership is what made our freshman year fun, because like the football games were fun, the dances were fun, and all that stuff. So we were like, yo, like Danny, like I feel like we can be the leaders of Granger in student government and like make the football games fun, the sports games fun, the dances, the assemblies, and all that stuff. And like we didn't think that we were like the best leaders at the school. We just felt like we were able to harness and like improve our abilities, our leadership abilities, because we were in a club called FBLA, where like we learned about business and leadership, how to public speak and network and all these things. And so then we ran for student government, and then we won, and we were like super grateful. And even if we would have lost, we were like, yo, like everything happens for a reason. Like we can like.
If you lose a student government, like let's say you did president.
Yeah.
Do you get bumped down if you lose, or no? You just that's it.
Yeah. So if you run for SBO, which is student body officer, and then you lose, you can run for senior class officer. You know. Yeah. Or if you run for SBO, let's say vice president, but lose, and no one ran for SBO like historian, then you can become SBO historian.
Let them know. Let them know how to become.
Yeah,
let them know how to become an SBO. Yeah.
But anyways, so the conflict start. I don't know if I can talk about this.
Do it.
Okay, so
just don't say names.
Okay, I don't know if I can talk about this.
Just don't say names.
Who's watching?
Dude, it doesn't matter. Just don't say names.
All right. So basically, conflict started.
Just say when one.
Yeah, I can't talk about this. I can't talk about this.
No, now you got everybody interested.
Dude, no one's. Yeah, I can't talk about this, bro. I'm sorry.
No, you have to say it.
Wait,
I'm telling you, just cut people out. I mean, yeah. Conflict started when?
Yeah, too many people are watching.
Conflict started when?
I can't talk about this, but.
Okay, was it fun for the most part, or was it like dull?
It was fun for sure. Like,
what was your favorite part about it?
Favorite part? I don't know favorite parts. I think, although it wasn't like immediate, just like seeing the positive change that we were able to like make at Granger was like one of the best parts. Cause like I feel like we like Danny and I in our student government team, like we were able to create more school spirit, and like people were more like motivated. Not everyone was more motivated to like go to school, but I feel like more people were motivated to go to school and like attend all the events and all this stuff. And it was also like really nice building relationships with like other students and the faculty. So
read the latest comment.
I'm scared.
Read it. Dude, you have to say what you wanted to say.
I can't see the comment.
You can't see it? Well, somebody put expose everyone, Ramirez. Expose everyone.
Who said that?
Don't say the name out loud.
Oh, okay.
Expose everyone, dude. Nobody's
can't.
gonna say, dude, I don't have any freshmen on here. I don't have anybody.
I don't know if I can, bro.
Just don't say names. Like, why is it so bad? Like, were the conflicts that bad?
It's just like, it's not like the conflicts. It's not that I don't want to say it. It's just that like I don't want to like expose people or like.
Then don't say names.
Or like not expose people, but expose what happened. Sure. Maybe.
Dude. Fine. We'll come back to it.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Okay, we'll come back to it. Okay, so you know when you're an SBO and you get to meet everybody, all the SBOs.
Yeah. From like other schools, or
yeah, were they trash? Like some of them, or were they all super nice?
So, like, honestly, I think all of them were nice, and like all of them had this like leadership vibe, and like this positive vibe, and like they're super like extroverted and social, and they're like, they're always like, hey, like what's up, like what school are you from, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. And then when we went to other schools and saw like people with SBO jackets. And like they saw us with SBO jackets, and we made eye contact. We were like, "Hey," and then we like approached them and then talked to them. But I think they were all super friendly. The only thing is that like there's like two different types of SBOs, and like if you talk to them more, like you can kind of sense it. And I feel like the first type of SBO are like people that like actually want to help out their school and like make it better, and like learn as much as they can and become a better person. And then I don't really like it, but like if that's what they want to do, like then go ahead and do it. But there's like another SBO that do it, and they say like they do it just for the sweater, which means it's not literally just for the sweater, the SBO sweater. What that means is like basically they just do it to like put it on their resume and have a better chance of like getting scholarships. Just to like basically like or like get more clout in the school. They just like do it for like purely or mostly personal benefit. Yeah. And like when I'm at like SBOs like that, or like I like talk to them, I was just like, dang,
like, how do you know? Like what's the difference between like conversational and like what kind of conversations do you have?
Well, number one, I feel like actions speak louder than words. So people that do it just for their sweater like don't really put in as much effort or time or energy like in the events in the school and stuff, and that people that do it for the students, like they're willing to like sacrifice like whatever it takes like for the students and stuff. Like for me, like the reason, I don't know if you remember, the reason why like I didn't want to do wrestling was because like I really wanted to dedicate a lot of my time for Granger.
Yeah, of course.
But then like as like the season started getting closer, and like even like before that, people were like, yo, like, you can't stop wrestling, like, we miss you, like, you should come back, you should wrestle for us. And luckily, they were able to convince my mind, and, like, I'm grateful that I was still able to wrestle. And it was tough, like, managing wrestling in student government, but, like, it came through, and I was really happy.
Dude, you got good. You're
I did. I placed 5th in state. So.
Yeah. Dude, my brother, he's still wrestling. He's doing pretty good right now.
Yeah, he's doing good.
Was it discouraging seeing like shitty students at your school when you were trying to make it better?
Honestly, I don't believe that students are shitty, but I just feel like every student has potential.
Okay.
It's just that like you need to embrace that potential and not like
it's like that Einstein quote. If you
yes, dude, I talked to my dad about that quote.
The fish, right?
Mm-hmm. So I'll say the quote.
Yeah, say the quote. I don't remember it.
Albert Einstein said that if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its entire life thinking that it's stupid. And that's like the quote, but basically to finish it, in order, like if you put a fish in water, then like it's just like so good at swimming because it's a fish.
Of course.
So like that's the same thing with students at Granger and like anywhere too. Like if you judge a student by their ability to do math, and they're not good at math naturally, then but they're really good at writing.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with my friend. He's like, how can we get students to like find interest in a subject? I was like, here's what you do. You find something they're good at, whether it's art, math, or whatever, and then find the subject they're not good at, and then combine it. So if they're good at science, but they suck at reading, put more word problems into the science. Start making their brain work a little more. Because that's the whole point of school, yeah? Because you always say, like, oh, schools can't teach us how to do our taxes or anything. But I talked to a teacher once, and they said, it's not about, like, preparing you for life. It's about getting you ready, your mind ready for what you could face. Because that's why you have all these complex problems, even though you might not ever use them. You will use some part of that. You're like, oh, I didn't give up on this problem. Why am I going to give up on this other one?
Yeah. One thing that I want to add too is like, even if a student isn't really good at like math, let's say, but they're good at writing, that doesn't necessarily mean that they'll always be bad at math. There's a book called Mindset by a doctor called Dr. Carol Dweck, and it talks about two different types of mindsets: a closed mindset and an open mindset. To start off with a closed mindset, it's like people that feel like they're born with their abilities. So like if they're good at math, then they'll be good at math forever. Or if they're bad at reading, then they'll be bad at math forever. But it talks about like if these students with like closed minds or people with closed-minded mindsets, like if they come up with a challenge that's like harder than what their abilities are, they'll like run away from it or like avoid it, because if they fail, they'll let that failure define them. But then there's open-minded people where like they don't think that they're born with their abilities. Like if they work harder or like get more help, then they can increase their abilities. And it could be like any abilities. It could be like dating or like being social,
dating,
academics. It could be with sports. It could be with business. Like literally any area in your life. Like they don't believe that you're born with that talent. Like you can develop it.
Yeah, you can develop
in
it
like whatever ways.
Yeah, like, I see that a lot, honestly. Yeah. Like there's so many students that like, it doesn't even have to be students. Like there's people who will try something and then they fail at it and that's it. They'll never try it again. They'll never do it.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of why I started these, honestly, because at first I wanted to open up a YouTube channel about movie reviews, but I got too ambitious with it because so I got out of work like late at night, and then that's the only time I basically had to work. So I would be up from 12 to like sometimes 3, 4 trying to work on my video, and then I went to go fall asleep, but I had to be up by 6 to go take care of my son. So I only had like very minimal sleep, and I was like, fine, I can't do that. Maybe let me try whenever he's asleep, let me work. But every time I got everything set up and I was like getting into it, then he woke up and I had to go be a dad for a bit. And then it just kept going like that. So I was like, I can't manage this. I was like, I'm either gonna put all my life into like trying to do this video and not be able to sleep and be shitty the whole day, or I have to find something else. And then I started getting into podcasts, and I was like, how hard would it be to actually start one? Like, it wouldn't be hard at all. I would just need people, and I could do it by myself. So I was like, fuck it, let's just try it. Like, even if I don't like it, let's just try. And recently somebody messaged me and they said, is it worth it to start a podcast? And then I thought to myself, like, when you say worth it, what does it mean? Like, worth it as in, am I gonna get any money out of it, or worth it as in like, is anybody gonna listen, or worth it as in I'm gonna work it for myself? And I thought about that for a bit, and I think it's worth it for me because I get to talk to people and I get to do things and I get to learn. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's worth it for me. Like, I don't care about the money. I don't care about people who watch.
Yeah.
Like, well, I do. I do care about everybody, but I'm just saying, like, thank you for watching, of course. But I'm just saying, like
you care about them, but you don't care if like you get one.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care if you like me. Yeah, I will be saying the same thing if I get one or like a million. I mean, I don't think that'll ever happen, but if it happens, then I'll be super proud of myself. So, I was watching this podcast one day, and then he said, I think everybody should start a podcast for the same reason that, like, it's just another way for you to either express yourself, get more revenue, or just for fun. So I think I want to do all three. And I mean, for my first priority is to have fun. And that's what I'm doing. I'm having fun. It was really fun doing it with Junior. It's really fun doing it with you.
Thank you.
And then number two, it's the learning aspect of it. I'm learning so much. Like, have you seen this movie Blackfish?
No.
I'll talk to you about that, dude. But and then the third reason is to get like revenue, because I mean, if this blows up, I'll be super happy. But either way, I'm just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
Dude, but that movie Blackfish, I don't know if you saw, like, I think it was my third podcast. I was talking about it. And it's about all the people who died, all the trainers who died from SeaWorld.
Yeah. Oh, from like the whales?
Yeah, from the whales. Dude, it's so gnarly. You should watch it. It's on Netflix. Again, if you guys need to watch it, dude, you do it. Yeah. And then I always have this conversation with my wife. She's like, hey, like if our son wanted to go to SeaWorld, like, you wouldn't go? I was like, I don't think I would, honestly. I don't really support SeaWorld. I would go and like to the hotel where you guys are, but I wouldn't go with you. She's like, what, so you're just gonna stop your son from doing it? I'm like, no, you can go. I don't care, you can go, but I just don't wanna be like, I wanna basically set an example for my son to be like, hey mom, why doesn't dad wanna go? Oh, well, he doesn't like how the fish are treated, and he doesn't like this and that, and then I just want him to be like, oh, dang, my dad actually has an opinion and doesn't do it. And I'm like, yeah.
So you wouldn't go because you don't agree with how they treat the fishes?
Yeah, no way. No, dude, it's
How
horrible.
did they treat the fishes?
In the movie, there's just so much to that movie. So basically they grabbed this little whale from I'm just like really paraphrasing it, but they grabbed this little whale from the wild from its mom. And they basically raise it, and at first it didn't want to do any of the tricks that the older whales were doing, so they were beat the fuck out of that. The other whales, because they weren't getting fed every time they didn't do the trick, so the other whales would beat the fuck out of the little whale. And then soon the little whale started realizing, like, oh shit, I better start doing it, or I'm gonna get beat up, and they're not gonna feed me. So it got big and stuff, and every whale you see at SeaWorld, their fin is always bent, the top fin. It's always bent. Yeah, and then they fucking lie, dude. In the documentary, they say over 90% of whales in the wild, their fin is bent. But that's not true. Only like 1% of them is bent. It's because they're depressed all the time. So, sometimes, like, the way they explain it is like, so let's say you got a whale from Washington, but you got a whale from China. Every whale has a different language and culture. Yeah. So it's like people.
I've heard of that before. Yeah.
So if you were to put them together, they don't know any language. They don't know, and they don't get each other. They get frustrated. So they would fight all the time. They'd bite each other, and they would like, you know how killer whale looks all glossy and nice. Yeah, they zoom into the skin, dude. It's all scraped up. It's all bleeding, and it's like bleeding out into the pool while people are watching, dude. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Honestly, like, yeah, that's true though. Like, there's a lot of inhumane things that happen, like, in zoos and in aquariums. But I think there's like a lot of protests too, like that people like boycott or like don't go to those places.
I think the zoo is a little bit better, just because you don't have to train an animal really, and like they're just getting fed and getting fat basically. Yeah, but again, like I don't feel like every zoo or every aquarium does that. Like I think for most of the animals that I've seen and fish, like they're there because they were like injured in the wild. Yeah, that's what they make you think, dude. But that's
really
not true. Yeah, they're all getting captured. Yeah, that's what they make you think. I remember I once went to, there's this mall in Layton called the Layton Hills Mall, and they have this. It's like a little aquarium inside the mall called Sequest, and they have a petting zoo there.
Yeah.
And there's a turtle, and that turtle looks miserable, dude. It's like just sad there, just hanging its head. And then I was like, damn, dude, like, are you okay? And then he's just like dangling his head, and like kids were going up and like touching it. I was like, nah, dude, I can't do this.
Maybe it's just like slow, you know? It's like a turtle.
No, but dude, you could tell in somebody's face. Yeah, of course. Like if somebody was sad, you know.
Yeah.
There's people who hide it pretty good, but there's people that like you just know.
That's true.
Dude, what were you telling me about how you have to move out of your dorm in Christmas? Like
okay, yeah. I think I told you that like, so basically at the U, I don't know if this happens at other universities, but like people that live on campus at the dorms at the University of Utah, during the winter break, which is like 3 to 4 weeks, like they have to move out, like it's mandatory. And I heard from a friend, like I always wonder, like, oh, why do they like have to move out? Like, why do I have to move out? But I heard that it's because like they do that to prevent like suicides and stuff. Because during the winter, that there's like a higher likelihood of seasonal depression, like with the winter, how it gets like darker earlier, how it's more cold. And so yeah, I think they make, from what I heard from a friend, which I don't know if it's like a super reliable source, is that they make them move out to prevent like suicide and stuff, which I think makes like logical sense.
Dude, I remember I worked at this job, and I don't know where my friend my coworker there, he's like, dude, did you hear? And I was like, hear what? He's like, some supervisor just killed himself. And I was like, which one? And then he told me which one, and then I was like, no way, like I just saw him like yesterday. He's like, dude, I guess people were like bullying him here because he like doesn't shower, and he like, it didn't look like he showered, but like dude, like that's
sad.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, like I wonder who was like that, like one insult that was just like,
damn. He's like, I'm done.
Yeah, I wonder who it was, dude. Because I think with people like that, like cyberbullying, like if a person kills themselves, the person who did it, they should be like put to jail or something, because it's not right. I mean,
yeah. Sometimes like people that bully people, like, they don't know that about the harm that they're causing.
Yeah, of course.
Too, so
I think now
it's like tough to like charge them.
Yeah, I think now though, like even though people say we get offended easily, we also take a lot of shit more than we used to. Yeah, because
especially like cyberbullying. Like
cyberbullying is not like you don't hear about it in the news so much anymore.
Yeah.
I saw this this meme that was this old guy, and he's like, back in my day, people didn't get offended as much, and then somebody commented, they're like, back in your day, you were getting mad because a black person was drinking out of the same water fountain as you were. And I was like, oh shit, that's so true, dude. It's so crazy how like that happened so recently.
I know. That's true. I was actually learning about that in like racism at my school.
There's a class about racism?
No, it was a writing class. But the professor was a critical race theory, so he like studies race and how it influences interactions socially, like in society. And so like he implemented critical race theory in the writing class. But he talks about like racism, and he's like African American too, which is like pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
but
give him a pass.
But basically what he says is that there's like two different like theories of racism. There's like the individualized social bias, implicit bias racism, and then there's like this structural institutional racism.
Okay.
And with the first one, where it's like racism like at the individual level with like bias and prejudice, that's basically the theory that racism is just like on a one-on-one level, like I don't like you because you're Mexican and you're brown. And then like I could say like verbal things or just like give you like a weird look, and that could be like among like a whole bunch of individuals. Okay. So like people say that cops shoot like with the Black Lives Matter movement, like cops shoot harmless African Americans because they have a prejudice bias towards African Americans. Okay. But the new form or the new theory that is more accurate about racism is the institutionalized or systematic racism, which is basically how like racism has always existed. And like with going back, sorry, I'm going back and forth, but going back to like the individual racism, they feel like that's what the consequence or the result from like slavery. But with the new theory, the critical race theory, there's actually an article about it called The Critical Race Theory by Eduardo Bonilla Silva. If you guys want to like check it out.
Okay, yeah.
But basically,
check it out, dude.
It talks about how like racism has always existed in our society. It's just taken on different types of forms. So
well, yeah, back then it was killing.
First, like it was killing.
Yeah, back then it was just killing.
Yes, and then it was like slavery. You know, white men would own black slaves, and in America, like during the colonial era, have them like work in farms and stuff. And then slavery was abolished with Abraham Lincoln, and then it took on the form of segregation. And so then now, like they believe that black and white people could live separately but equally, but still the facilities that the African Americans have were different from the white people, and like they were like less, and that they were not as good. But then segregation was abolished, and then they could live equally, I guess, or in the same places. But then there were Jim Crow laws, which prevented African American or minority folks to like do the same things that white people could do, like voting, etc. But then Jim Crow laws were abolished, and then now racism is basically like illegal, but it still exists institutionally and systematically, where because like in PWIs, which stands for predominantly white areas, so for example, let's use higher education. So if a higher educational institution is predominantly white, for example, the University of Utah is predominantly white. If a minority, let's say a Latino, enters that environment, they'll feel like this culture shock because they have their own culture, and then white people have their culture, and like once the Latino person walks into that culture, like their culture walks into that environment, their culture clashes.
Yeah, of course.
And that Latino is less likely to be successful because white people have their own way of navigating that system, and so then a Latino person, if they like enter that environment, they're like shocked by like how to navigate it, like with the rules and the norms, and so they feel like alienated, and they could like and two things could happen, like they could either like drop out, let's say, of college, or like they can learn the system and how it works, and then do this thing called code switching, or having working mentality, where like when that Latino folk is like with other Latinos, then they'll like act normally, but when they're like in a predominantly white environment, then they'll switch the way they talk, the way they express themselves, the way that they look, even to like navigate that system and be successful.
Dude, I think now that's pretty easy for like Mexicans to do. I don't know about any other race, but like I feel like a lot of Mexicans, they'll act Mexican when they need to, and then now white when they need to. Because I like, even though I'm from Mexico, like I consider myself more of an American here because I've been here like my whole life. And like I always hear everybody listen to these Mexican music and stuff. I just can't do it, dude. I just can't do it.
I tried to, but I couldn't.
Yeah, I just can't do it.
Honestly, bro, like I've always felt this is kind of like weird, like, but people might take this weird, but or like too personal, but I've always felt like I didn't fit in with people, because like I'd go with my Latino people, and like I'd always feel like different from them, and then I'd go with like American people, and I'd feel different from them too. But then I realized like I'm Latino, but I'm white, because like you got my skin color, and like I'm white. Like even at the U, people think that I'm like American, or like a white. I'm American. You know what I mean? Like a white. Caucasian. And so like when I would interact with Latino people, like I'd always felt different, and I think it's because like of my skin color and stuff, I guess, or like my height. You know.
Well, it's also you don't have an accent. That's what gets a lot of people.
I don't have an accent.
Maybe it might come out in a couple words, but
maybe I changed it. Code switching.
Well, exactly. Yeah, maybe.
And then when I would go with like white people, like I would basically look the same as them, but like our cultures are different, and the way we talk are different, and like our hobbies are different. So I would be like, you know, like I couldn't fit in with.
But that's also what makes people interesting, dude. You get like you said, if you get like to the U and there's white people everywhere, everybody does the same thing mostly. There's no different hobbies, there's no different cultures, there's no different food, there's no different music. So when you mix like a Mexican in the middle of the white people, then that's when they're like, you'll get people that are like, nah, fuck that bitch, and then you'll get people that are like, he's cool, and then you'll get people that are like, show me your culture, and then that's how you get all this diverse people, and I think that's the way to do it. I always tell my wife that I wouldn't want to send my son to a private school, simply because, not that I don't care about him and want like the best for him, but just because I don't feel that you'll learn as much of life if you don't go to a public school. Because in private schools, what's the story? Everybody's, why are you here? Oh, my rich parents. Oh, they bought my school. But in public school, why are you here? Oh, my dad was a drug addict. My mom did meth every day, and this is all I have right now. It's just like, do you have a house? No, I just cardboard box or whatever.
Cardboard box.
Yeah, whatever it might be. But you get like, it kind of humbles you in the sense.
I feel like
it kind of humbles you because you get like different aspects in life, and you can be grateful for what you have. I think that's the problem right now, dude.
I think when I was watching your podcast with Junior, like he told you, I think he told you like that we're like blessed that we went to Granger, or he said something like that. And, like,
no. Okay, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and I agree with him, bro. Cause like honestly, like the majority of the people that I met at Granger were like super humble, and we had like the same backgrounds and the same struggles, and like we could relate to each other, regardless of race, regardless of gender, or any like social identity. And like now that I'm at the U, like I see these people and they're like super privileged, and like not to blame them, you know, like they were born, they were born into it, like they don't know, but they're like super privileged, they're super wealthy, you know, and I'm just like, dang, like they don't know the struggle, you know, like they don't know what other people are going through in the world.
Well, yeah, you had to work for your scholarship.
Yeah.
And their scholarship were their parents. Yeah. But what I was saying in the other podcast, not to repeat myself, but it was that I think that Granger has a bad reputation, and even though it has a bad reputation, if you were to get to know everybody there, it's not as bad as they think it is. I think it's even better. And then I put Yelena as an example.
Yeah.
And
she's amazing.
If you guys don't know her, she was this this young lady in our class where she got a scholarship to Harvard. Was it a full ride? Do you know? Yeah, it was.
Well, just getting accepted to Harvard.
Yeah, it's just like, it doesn't matter.
It's just like crazy.
Like
so she worked.
Dude, exactly. Yeah, she worked for it. Of course.
She took like AP, a whole bunch of AP classes. She's the valedictorian, debate state champion, president of like this club, and she was part of like the youth council, like at her city government.
I remember somebody asked her what she wanted to be when like she grew up, and she's like, oh, I want to be one of the ladies who represents the U.S. and what is it, like the chair board or whatever, the board, when they all come to the board.
Yeah.
So I want to be one of those ladies. I was like, what is it called, you know?
The UN, the United Nations.
Yeah, like she wants to be one of those ladies that represents us, and I was like, damn, if I see her one day on TV and she's like there, dude, I'm gonna be like proud for her, because that's crazy how like Granger gets this bad reputation, but then you have this student that worked her way all the way to Harvard.
I'm proud of her. And she actually did like go on like a trip to New York through the United Nations, like as a student rep.
For real? Like what they do there, you know?
I don't know. But like I know she went there for the UN and stuff.
To New York? It's crazy. Have you ever been?
No.
Yeah, I've never been, dude, but it's so crazy. It's so crazy how it's just like a little island.
Wait, did you go to New York?
No, I'm not saying I've never been, but I said no, I'm saying it's so crazy how it's like a little island with just buildings everywhere. And like there's nowhere to build outside, that you just gotta go up more.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's so crowded there.
But one thing that like I wanna talk about is how you're saying that you don't want your son to go to a private school. You want him to stay at a public school.
Yeah.
And I learned about that too in college, but there's this book called The Doubly Disadvantaged by a doctor called Anthony Abraham Jack, where he talks about two different types of college students: the doubly disadvantaged and the privileged poor. Okay. And basically, in short, the doubly disadvantaged. So both of these like social classes are like diverse students from low socioeconomics, from like low economic statuses, that go into higher education into a predominantly white institution with like affluent white students. But basically it says both of them are like minorities and from low socioeconomic statuses, but the difference between them is that the privileged poor are privileged because they went to private schools, and the doubly disadvantaged are doubly disadvantaged because they went to troubled public high schools in their neighborhood that have like bad reputations of being like ghetto or blah blah blah. And they the book does research and analyzes their college experiences, and they saw that the privileged poor students that came from private high schools are like more able to navigate the college system.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because in their private high schools, they already went through the culture shock with like white students, and then they were able to learn about like higher education, like the terminology, the rules, the expectations, so that now that they're in college, it's just like the same thing as high school, but just bigger. But then the doubly disadvantaged from like troubled public high schools, once they go to college, it's just like this big shock that they go through, and like since they're first generation too, like they don't know how to navigate it or how to like interact with white people, and like it's like tough. Like going to like you were thinking like going to a private high school, like it does benefit them more than students that go to like public high schools, but
yeah, it might benefit them educational, but I don't think it's life.
But I feel like people that go to public high schools, like I respect them more because they were able to like be successful in that environment, and they're able to represent their communities.
And I feel like everywhere you're always gonna get bums though. Like there's gonna be people who never show up to class. And oh, my parents will pay for it. I don't care. I'm gonna just live with my parents. And you're always gonna get those type of people. Like there's always that. Like in high school, you're always gonna get those people who are like, damn, you're not letting me graduate. Like that's so messed up. Well, yeah, it's messed up, but why aren't you graduating? You never came to school. And you're always gonna get those students that are like, that think you owe them something, I guess you could say.
Like they feel entitled.
Yeah, exactly. So like, why are you giving me an F? Well, you didn't do your work. Yeah, but I turned this other paper in, or yeah, but like I wasn't here for 4 days, or whatever it might be. But they feel like entitled to that you owe them something, and I feel like a lot of teachers need to have more control over that. I mean, it's not easy. I know it's not easy, but there's. I think the more shitty of a teacher you are, it doesn't even, like, not shitty, I don't mean to be shitty, but like the more lazy you are as a teacher, like not engaging to your students. No, like the less social, I guess. The less social to your students that you are, the least they like you. Because even though you're always gonna have that quiet kid in the corner, if you're always making jokes with everybody, if you're always saying like, oh hi, good morning, whatever, how are you? That student, even though he's quiet all the time, he's gonna be able to go up to you and be like, hey, I have this problem at home or at school. Just because you've been so open with all these other kids
and build that relationship.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many teachers that are just like, here's a book, fill this out. There you go. That's my class. But then you get those teachers that like actually talk to you, and then you love them forever. You'll always remember those teachers. Yeah. Like and there's been times where, and I feel like this is everywhere. Like with coaches and everybody, like you get those teachers who prefer their little group of students over others.
Oh yeah, they have like their favorites.
Yeah, exactly. And then those students that aren't the favorites, when they need help, they don't want to go up to you because they know that you're always around this little group of kids or whatever. And I think like for me, like I would like to be a teacher. I mean, I don't know if I'd be a good one, but
you would be a good one.
Yeah,
open mindset.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I would try it.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say if I did become a teacher, now that I have all this experience of like how to talk to kids, what I've seen with kids, like now I know that, hey, that quiet kid in the corner, just because he's quiet doesn't mean he's dumb and doesn't want to do his work. He does want to do his work to graduate or whatever, but he just doesn't know that I'm here for him. And just because he's quiet, maybe his because I feel like a lot of students who are quiet, the first instinct that a teacher wants to do is go talk to them. And I don't think you should talk to them. Like, definitely get in a conversation here and there, but like if a student's quiet and you see that they're quiet, don't push them to have a conversation as much as you do to like your extroverted kids, because they're introverted for a reason. They don't feel comfortable around people, or they had a bad experience with people here and there. Or...
I think a misconception, sorry, just to point this out, like keep your thought, but a misconception with like introverted people and extroverted people is that people think that introverted people are like antisocial.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And extroverted people are social, but I feel like extroverted people are like more energized by social interactions, and so they want to socialize more. But introverted people, like, they don't mind social interactions, but the more they socialize, the less, like, the more drained of energy they feel they have, and like the less energy they have to socialize with people.
What do you think you are?
I feel like I'm introverted.
Yeah, see, and you look extroverted.
Yeah,
exactly.
And like, people think that I'm like extroverted, but like, if I talk to a lot of people or meet a lot of new people, like, I just like feel drained of energy, and I just like want to like bounce.
Yeah, me too.
But like Danny, like, he's extroverted. Like, he walks into a room, like, meets new people, and he's just like
have you asked
all
him?
over the place. Yeah, he's extroverted.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. So.
No, dude, not me. I can't do that. Like, even these podcasts, even though I can like keep them going and keep subjects going, it feels kind of like weird to me.
Yeah, it feels draining.
Yeah, it does feel draining when I get out. And when we're done from the podcast, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then I look back to see what we talked about. I was like, dang, that's kind of interesting. I can't believe that came out of me.
Yeah. Well, were you gonna finish though with your thought?
What are we talking about? Extroverted, introvert. Yeah. So you like if
you're students.
Yeah. So if you're a teacher. And you see a little quiet kid in the corner, first instinct is to like go up to him and say hi, but maybe they don't want that hi. Maybe they just want to see how you react to students, so they feel comfortable to come up to you. Because at first, like, you know how you get those classes where everybody's talking, and then you go to the next period and then nobody talks? Yeah, maybe you just have a room full of like introverts. And the thing is, when a lot of people are surrounded by introverts, I feel like they slowly start becoming introverts a little bit.
Yeah. Or not necessarily that they become introverts.
Well, not become.
It's just that like they see that that's the social.
That's a norms,
and they adapt. Code switching to that.
Yeah, exactly. Code switching.
But going back to like what you're talking about, I feel like going back to like the race and like the culture and the code switching, like teachers, like they have their own way of thinking and their own expectations, and most of the time, like you were saying, their expectations are for like students to come up to them, introduce themselves, talk to them, be extroverted, build that relationship. But like these shy students have their own expectations, and like I don't know what they are, but like they could probably think that they want that one-on-one, like after school or after class, talk to like the teachers not in the class full of like other students, just like privately, you know, and like that makes that shy student like feel less adequate to be in school and like less able, and like they drop out or something.
Yeah,
they get like a bad grade. But definitely, I feel like we must, like, as a society, we should like learn more about each other's culture and be more acceptance. Be more open to like diverse backgrounds and stuff.
I was talking to somebody about that. I was like, I don't think we're as dumb as like other generations think we are. Like they think we're dumb because we're doing this all day. But why are we doing this all day? All our people are on here. All the news are on here. Yeah. Everybody's on here.
Google's like,
Google.
Question?
Yeah, if you have a question,
YouTube.
Google's your school.
Yeah, it is
your school. YouTube is your school.
Like basically almost anything. Like my so my car, like on the dashboard, there's like lights. Like it lights up, and then there's like this one part that was dark, and I was like, shoot, how do I fix it? So then I searched up how to fix the light in your dashboard, and then boom, I saw a YouTube video, and then I went to AutoZone, bought like a bulb, and then like got a screwdriver, took off my dashboard, and then put in the light bulb, and then boom, like you can learn anything, bro. And like, that was just an example.
Back then, who was gonna help you?
A mechanic,
like your dad maybe, but like now you got everything here. And it also has its cons and pros, but I think the pros outweigh the cons by a huge amount. And like the media doesn't cover it as much. Like when good stuff happens, the media doesn't cover it as much as when bad stuff happens. And like, did you hear about the guy who's cleaning up the oceans, the 21-year-old?
The 4 oceans?
Fuck. I don't remember his name. I'll get his name. Let me search it up. Dude, but he's cleaning the ocean. He started this project when he was 21. No, when he was 16.
Is it the bracelets one? Where like you buy a bracelet for
No. They're just now releasing merch.
Oh, is it the coral reef one?
No. Here, let me get it for you. His name is weird. but he's cleaning up the ocean, and you never heard about it. See, like you're naming all these other ones, and you don't know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I listened to like one thing that he had to say on this interview, and he was talking about how he had a whole bunch of people who told him he can't do it, even though it's something good. Like, why wouldn't you want to support somebody cleaning the ocean? Mm-hmm. So his but the way he thought of it, the way he says it in this interview was, as long as the comment they made me or the thing that I'm saying, whatever they said, if it's constructive criticism, I'll take it in, I'll think about it. Like, hey, you're doing good, but you have this thing to fix. I see that in your boat that's cleaning up the oceans. Like, it could be better this way. And he's like, oh, maybe you're right. He doesn't take it the wrong way and be like, oh, your thing is trash. But if there's people who's like, hey, your thing is trash, like, with no reason why, like, okay, fine. Like, you have no purpose for me. His name is Boyan Slot. Yeah, B-O-Y-A.
What's his organization called?
Let me get that for you, dude.
But I agree 100% with that. Like, as a former leader of Granger High School, as a SBO vice president, like, I didn't know at the time or before it, but like, if you're like in a higher position, like, you're gonna get so much criticism, and at first it can be like really scary, but you just have to like learn, like you were saying, to like take in the constructive criticism and just like block out the criticism that has like no.
That's what's hard for us nowadays. Like, everything that somebody tells us, like let's say I'm doing these podcasts and somebody's like, hey, it wasn't good. Okay, but like, why wasn't it good? I don't know. Okay, then I don't care. But if they were like, hey, maybe you could try talking a little less, or like change something up. Yeah, fixing the mic,
changing the setting.
Yeah, exactly. Then I would be like, okay, I'll think about it. I'm pretty good at taking constructive criticism. I don't really care what people say about me.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't really bother me when people talk crap about me, or like when people like criticize me. But if it's constructive criticism, then I understand it, I process it, and I actually like do something about it.
Yeah. I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
So what criticism did you get, and how did you handle the criticism of having a kid at such a young age?
Oh my god, dude. Yes. Oh well, it's called the Ocean Cleanup. You guys should go support it. I think the Ocean Cleanup, dude. I wish I had a screen here. Maybe that'll be my next. Yeah, screen here. Yeah.
Oh, like a projector.
Yeah. I'll have something here next time. I'll get on that.
That'd be sick.
So I have a projector here. We'll see about it. So the Ocean Cleanup. You guys should go check it out. It's pretty interesting. How was it? Or like, what was your question?
So it was as a
young guy.
How did you? Well, no. So it was, what criticism did you get, and how did you handle the criticism of
pretty
being
rough, dude.
a father at such a young age? So what was the criticism that you got?
Well,
if you remember.
Well, dude, I remember, but like,
what was it? What were like comments that they would tell you, like, boom, boom, boom?
Even now, it's just you're too young.
You're too young.
Like, you're too young to have a kid. Okay, yeah, it already happened. Like, I can't put it back in. Like, you're too young to have a kid. Okay, what am I gonna do? Like, but I think what gets people mad now is that like I'm actually doing things for my kid that like most people can't do. Like, I provided my kid with this new apartment, and I'm actually like trying to be a good dad. I'm there for like what I was telling Junior is I feel like more dads put the money aspect first.
Oh,
like
they don't put
the kid, yeah. I find it more important. Like, even though I might need the money, I'd rather do overtime here with my kid than at work, just simply because I want him to have that memory of, oh, when I was a little kid, my dad came up to me and was always playing with me, instead of, oh, when I was a little kid, my dad always went to work. So I get that a lot. Oh, you're too young. Okay, but I can't put him back. I can't like throw him away. Like, okay,
put him up for adoption.
Yeah, like. Yeah. It's pretty, I'm like attached to that kid, dude. I can't do that anymore.
I see potential in him. Like, I feel like no, literally. I feel like he's gonna do like great things.
Yeah, dude, I think so too. But dude, I hope so in something.
Yeah.
No, but another one I get is like probably like.
You ruined your future? Or?
Yeah, probably like that one too.
What would you say to that?
How? Like,
yeah.
How did I ruin my future?
A child's a blessing.
Yeah, not even that. Like, how did I ruin my future? Well, you can't go to school now. Okay, I never wanted to go to school. Like, that wasn't part of my plan. Yeah. Okay, well, you can't get a job. I have a job. Oh, well, you can't make time to, like, go do things anymore. I don't care about doing things. Like, I'd rather be with my son than going out to parties. And then that's what the parents of my girlfriend told me. I don't want you to be dropping them off here and, like, you guys going out to parties. I don't party. I don't like to. Like you said, I'm introverted. I don't like that, like, social interaction. And then at work today, some guy's like, oh, I finally got my mom to watch my kid because I'm going to a party. I'm like, well, I finally got myself to go home so I could watch my kid. And that's another good one that I get. You ruin your future, and then I just shut them up by saying, like, how? And then they bring out all these excuses that I think most of the time when a parent blames me, or like not blames me, but gives me a criticism, it's because they couldn't do it. They're like, you ruined your future. Did I though? Like, my future is still way ahead of me. Like, it's not done. I'm barely starting. Like 18, that's like when you're like barely moving.
I feel like you were saying too, like people, when it's not constructive criticism, when people just give criticism like that for like negative reasons, they give it because like they see that you're doing good, or you're doing better than them, and they're like in the same situation, and they feel envious or jealous, and so they try to bring you down to like make them feel
exactly.
Up
we need to stop that, dude. Like like if a parent was like, oh, you ruined your future, and I said like, how? And then I said like, oh, I got my first apartment, and they're like, how'd you get your apartment? That would be better than like just blaming me for stuff or like bringing out all these things in my face. And then it's not even like judgments I get. I think it's like a lot of stares. I get a lot of stares. And I don't mind the staring, like if you stare at me and I have my kid here, like fine, he's a cute kid, I don't care.
Yeah, he's cute.
Yeah, like look. But like once it gets to like the fucking like eyes locked on, you're over there, I'm over here, and they're just staring at me, I'm like why? Like I get he's a cute kid, but like are you staring at me? Or most of the time, like most of the like criticism I get came from like my parents and her parents mostly, and like just right now, like I don't want to like diss my dad, but like he's been mad, dude. Like, for like just because I moved out.
Oh really?
He's been pissed.
Damn.
Like I went to my mom had some medicine for Nico. Yeah. And I went over there to go get it, and he was there, and he recently had nose surgery because he had like it was called the. Let me search it up. It was called the. I don't remember what it was called, but there's this bump you get on your nose, and sometimes as a baby it grows a lot. Oh. So all his life he spent with like a blocked hole, yeah.
That was so good.
Well, yeah, you live with a blocked hole, dude. Yeah. So so just recently now he went to go fix that finally because did I tell you he got diabetes? Yeah, he like. No, it's fine. He's good. Like, they caught it pretty early.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So they went to go fix that up. So I went home and I was like, "Hey, how are you?" And he's like, "Good." And I was like, "How are you feeling?" "Good." How's your nose?" "Good." Does your nose still hurt from the surgery?" "No." "Oh, are you sleeping better now?" "Yeah."
I feel like he's always been quiet though.
No. He's quiet for sure, but not like this. Like, so
do you know why he's like?
Because I moved out, dude.
But what about you moving out?
Well, I'm his first kid, right? So I think.
Wait, what about your brother?
Which one?
Your older brother?
He has a different dad. Oh. So I'm like his first legit kid.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Like he has other kids.
Yeah.
So like here's a picture. I'll show you. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So he has like a blocked hole like that.
Hypertrophia.
No, it's not called that. It's called cornets or something. I don't know. But it's kind of like that. Anyways. Yeah. So I was like, "How's your day?" "Good." And that's all he was doing. Like, you know, when you get your girlfriend mad and shit. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It was like that.
What's wrong? Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Not dissing girls.
Yeah, not dissing girls, but.
But why do you think he's upset that you moved out?
I just think he wanted I think 2 reasons. Yeah, maybe he wanted me to stay, but
what
like 2 reasons. First reason I think is because I didn't ask him for a lot of stuff. Yeah. And I'll tell you a story of when I did ask him for something, but
what do you mean you didn't ask him for a lot of stuff? Like for help or?
Yeah, for help of like moving out or anything like that. And the one time I asked him for something, it was so I could make him feel like a dad. But he kind of like
failed. Or
yeah, I'll tell you about it. So after I tell you the second reason. So the second reason I think is because he sees that I'm doing more than he could in a way, because he's still kind of living like, all he does is get home from work and just sit on the couch, which I mean that's a lot. Like that's what a lot of people
dads do. Yeah,
but that's because they want to, and they don't think that. They're like, oh well. I asked my dad once, I was like, hey, do you want to do something? He's like, no, I'm really hurt from work. So that's the memory I have of him, and I don't want my son to have that memory. Like, even though I'm hurt, I still want to, like, mess around with him. But anyway, yeah, so that's the second reason. But one day I asked him, I was like, hey, when my son was born, he came up to me and he's like, hey, listen, he's like, I know things are going to be tough, but if you ever need anything, I don't know, maybe like a down payment on your new apartment or anything like that, let me know and I got you for sure. And I remember that because he said it to me, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna hold you to that. Thank you so much, man. Like that's the first time that I know that he's like my dad, because he never really does dad things. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah. So I was like, so when I was moving in here, I was like, hey dad, do you have like some money that I can borrow and I'll pay you back? And then he's like, yeah, I do, but how do you know you're not going to end up like everybody else? And I was like, well, I think Yesenia and I are a pretty good team to where we can communicate to each other and like not have problems and work with each other to make the best out of the situation. And he's like, so if you're trying to make the best out of the situation, don't you already have money saved up? And I was like, I do, but I don't want to use my savings, because if I use my savings, then when I get paid again, I'm just going to be putting it back into my savings, so it won't increase or decrease. So, and then he's like, oh, so you want to use my money and not mine? And then in my head, I was like, what the fuck, dude? You like told me that you were good for this. Like,
did you remind him about that instance?
No, I didn't. I should have, but
yeah.
But
because that's
I don't want to talk back to my dad, dude. Because
that is scary.
It's not that I was scared. It's not that I'm scared of him. It's that like I have more respect for him than he's like shown me. So then that went on, and then so I was like, fine, fuck it. You want me to use my money? I'll use my money. I don't care. I don't need you anymore. Fine. I'm gonna do things my way. And and I was like, all right, fine, good, okay. Then I just went downstairs, and I have this apartment now. So I think that's why he's mad too, because I gave him the opportunity to be a dad and actually prove himself that his word was valuable. But when it was his time to pay up, he didn't do it. And I mean, it's fine. It is what it is. But like that hurt me. And I told my mom about that. I was like, dude, that messed me up, because that hurt pretty bad. Yeah. And she's like, hey, you know how he is? And I was like, yeah, but I gave him a chance to be a dad, and he didn't. But yeah, I think lately now he's been mad at me, and I have these conversations with the wife sometimes all the time, like, damn, I feel really bad. And she's like, why, what's wrong? And I was like, I don't know, I just feel like a failure. Like, even though I have all these like things around me, I feel like a failure. And she's like, don't feel like that. Like, you have me and Nico, and everything's gonna be fine. And I was like, I know I have you guys, and I'm grateful for it, beyond grateful, but like, it'd just be nice, you know, to have that support that somebody promised you.
So first of all, I want to say something.
Say it.
It's like I'm still like talking about like this topic. Number one, bro, I look up to you.
Thank you, dude.
Why
I look up to you?
Hey, we look up to each other.
Yeah, you're taller than me. I have to look up to you.
Literally and metaphorically.
Yeah.
No, but the reason I look up to you is because, like, throwing out my political stances as a pro-life. So you know how there's like pro-life and pro-choice.
Okay. Yeah.
As someone that's like pro-life, like I'm like 99% pro-life and like 1%
like that 1%.
Like that 1% is like
you get the
super
situation.
young.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
And like honestly, bro, I respect you so much for not like aborting Nico. And I'm so happy that Nico is here and he's alive. But like honestly, bro, like a lot of people like don't like they do things and they know the consequences, but they're not willing to accept the consequences, and they like take these shortcuts like abortions and blah blah blah. But you, bro, like you know what you were getting into, and then boom, your wife got pregnant, and then you were like, you know what, I'm not gonna abort it. I'm gonna be a dad. I'm gonna like own up my actions, and like let my child be born and not kill it.
I love kids, dude.
Yeah, but honestly, like I respect that so much, bro, because like other people like we just like run away from their problems. And
it's not even aborting. I could have just left.
You could, or you could, you could have just left too. You could have just
right now. I could just leave.
Yeah,
like but you'll never see me again.
But now, like, did you get married before or after?
Not married.
Huh? No.
Not married. No.
Oh shoot! I thought you said she was your wife.
This is the thing.
You guys should get married. Invite me to the wedding, bro.
I will. Yeah,
I could be a best man.
Yeah,
or
sure.
not a best man. Groom.
Somebody asked me, he's like, "Why do you call your wife that?" And I was like, "Because I feel like it's kind of disrespectful if I call her my girlfriend, because like she's more than that now. Like she's the mother to my child. I can't just be like, oh yeah, my girl's over there, my girlfriend's over there. Like I feel like that's disrespectful. I do call her my girlfriend sometimes, but most of the time I refer to her as my wife, because now I don't want to say I'm tied down, but I am. But like I just have more respect for her to know that I'm gonna be put in that situation where she's gonna be with me forever. So I'd rather just get used to it.
Regardless though, like even though you guys are married, like you're still with her, you know.
Yeah, of course.
You guys are like building that connection together, making it stronger, supporting each other, being a team, getting an apartment, etc., etc. But the second thing that I want to talk about is that like, so number one, I respect you.
Okay.
For like being a dad.
Yeah, of course.
And then number two, it sounds like not trying to make this like an intervention or anything, but it sounds like, you know, you and your dad have this conflict, and I feel like communication would be like really good in like resolving this issue.
Yeah, I guess.
And this is like this constructive criticism, you know?
Yeah.
It's positive.
I'm not taking it the wrong way.
I feel like you should communicate with him more and
the
probably
thing is,
put yourself in his
shoes.
Like it can be tough sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
Like Latino dads are like close-minded a lot of times. They're super like criticizing or
and I don't think it's their fault, honestly. That's just how they were raised.
They were raised like that, yeah.
But I think my dad was so much raised in that household where he was beat for like being himself, or he was like beat for everything basically, and he didn't have food, and all he was taught was to be tough and like not really show any emotion.
Yeah.
So now like you say, like go talk to him. I really can, like nice, like no need to. But the thing is, like, I don't think it would get through to him. Like, he would take it the wrong way. You can't take that constructive criticism. And that's the only reason I don't bring it up to him. And I found the better way to do it is I kind of, like, let my mom know, like, how I'm feeling. Yeah. And then she kind of brings it up to him, like, slowly. Because she's been with him more than me, so she knows, like, how he is and stuff.
Yeah. That's good. The reason, like, I don't know, bro. I just feel like you should do it soon. Like, try to, like, get on good terms with him, bro.
Dude, I'm good with him, dude. Like, like,
that's good.
But he's just mad at me.
That's
like
good.
Right now.
Yeah. But or probably not like get on good terms because you guys are good terms, but like try to like resolve.
Fine. Yeah, I get that.
Because like honestly, bro, I went through like this stage in my life where like I had this like miscommunication and like this grudge towards a person, and like.
Can you say who?
Yeah.
Like, no, it doesn't have to be a name. It could be like, oh, this girl I was dating, or like, oh, this.
You already know who I'm talking about. But, this girl. You said this girl I was dating. But,
okay. I don't know who you're talking about. But.
I'm gonna like put myself vulnerable and like share this.
Yeah, share this, dude. There's a lot of people watching right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Share it. Let people know.
I'm sorry if I cry, but.
No, dude, it's okay.
But basically, alright. So I'm gonna try to relax and. Just like
you're safe here, dude. I'm not gonna laugh at you. I'm not gonna judge you.
I'm not scared of you. I'm scared of the viewers. But basically, like, there's this girl whose name was Renee Cobian, and I dated her for a while. And like, I feel like she was the only like true girl. Like, she was the only girl that like I truly had like deep like feelings towards. And then like our relationship was going good, but then like. I didn't really mess up, but there's this like miscommunication, or maybe I did mess up, but there's this miscommunication, and then like we took a break, and that break basically turned into a breakup, and then ever since like our breakup, like our communication was like cut off, and there was always this like, not like a grudge, but just like we didn't like clear things out or like rebuild our connection. And then unfortunately on December 1st, 2019, around 7:30 p.m. in King County, Utah, she passed away in a car accident with her older sister and I think it was her older brother. And then when that happened, bro, like I could not believe it. Like I was devastated. I was like, what the heck? Like this isn't real. Like, I kept telling myself like, yo, this isn't real. But then as I was like scrolling through Facebook and like looking at all like the comments, and then like on Instagram like all the stories, and on Snapchat, I was like, yo, like this is like true. And then I kept telling myself like, yo, like God, like why did you let this happen? You know, like she was so young. But like I talked to my sister about it. Like, yo, like I've been like low key depressed ever since that. But like I talked to my sister about it, and like she told me that like deaths are like when someone dies, especially like at a young age, it's like a wake up call. And I feel like a lot of regret that I wasn't able to like communicate with her and like end on good terms, or just like talk about it. And like now there's like I can't talk about it because you know she passed away.
Yeah.
And then like through the eyes of my flesh, or like through my body, like physical body, it's been hard for me to comprehend death. But like, because once I like got to college, I've kind of separated myself from the church and from God. And I kind of did that intentionally, because like once I got into college, I kind of like had this mindset of like I want to distance myself from God and like let something happen for me to like go back to Him and know that He truly exists.
Okay.
And
pretty deep.
Be careful what you wish for, bro. Because like ever since your death, bro, like that like truly made me want to like dedicate my life to God.
Dude, you can't blame yourself.
Because I'm not blaming myself, bro. But I feel like that's a wake up call. Because like Christianity or like religion, kind of like the main theme or like teaching of religion is just salvation. So like we'll have another life after our death, and it'll be in heaven with God. But in order to reach salvation, we have to accept Jesus as our Savior, and the Lord as our Savior. We have to like keep the 10 Commandments, and we have to get baptized. And so I don't know, like now I want to like, you know, stop partying, stop doing all these things, and like live a good life, get baptized, and just like all these things. Because to have faith to one day like see her again in heaven, you know. It sounds like
cliche or
cheesy, but I truly believe that like there's an afterlife, and that God exists, because like something crazy happened. I don't know if I can talk about it, but I felt like I told Yesenia about this before we like set up, but yeah, I probably shouldn't talk about it. But oh yeah, I'll just like summarize it. But basically, like once the semester ended at school, with like her death and like being super stressed about finals, and like experiencing all these emotions and stuff, like I was feeling really emotional. And like as a Latino male with like a father that's like super machista, kind of like the same as your father, where like they teach you not to show emotions, and that you have to like be like super tough and like provide for your family. Like I've always had that like seriousness and machista like appearance or whatever, right? Or mindset.
It means masculine.
Yeah.
Masculine. For those white speakers.
Yeah. Like as I was going through all this emotion, like it was just like piling up, right? And it was just like, you know, just like growing and just like being more concentrated. And then finally like it all exploded. And then like I was talking to like my friend about it that like lives in my same dorm, and like as I was talking to her, like my eyes were closed and I was just like telling her everything.
Were you crying?
And then and then I just had this urge to like hug her, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And then like when I like visualized myself like talking to God, like I'd always pray, but like I never felt like I actually talked to God or God would talk to me. Like I would imagine myself talking to God like by like being on my knees and like God standing up and then me just like holding him like that, and then him just like this like voice like and you know like please, you know, yeah, like that. And then as I was like talking to my friend, right, and then like telling her everything and like spilling out my emotions, like I had this urge to like hug her, and like she was sitting down too, but then she stood up and then I hugged her, and then I've never cried like as much as I cried that night. And that, like, when I say cry, I don't mean like just like teardrops. When I say cry, I mean like, you know when you cry or like in the movies,
like
where they're like, you know, you can barely breathe, and then your nose is like, your eyes are just like full of tears, and you're like, you know. I was just like hugging my friend, and I was like, you know. And then she started talking, right? And then she kept talking, and then I was listening to her, and the more I listened to her, like her voice changed, and it felt like God was like talking to me through her. Shoot, I forgot. But
she just basically like, it's okay, it'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's like, I'm here. Like she was like, I'm here for you. But it felt like God was like, I'm here.
Maybe it was him speaking through her.
And then like after I stopped crying, I was like, yo, like sit down, I need to tell you something. And then I told her how like I felt like she was an angel, and like God was talking to me through her. But that like that's not even the crazy part. So, but yeah, I felt like God was telling me like, I'm here for you. Like, don't feel sad. Like, you're my son, my children, and I would always love you like unconditionally, no matter what you do, and blah blah blah. But so then I told my friend, her name's Anai. I was like, yo, like I felt like God was talking to me through you, and like you're an angel. And like she told me her background, how like she would always feel like this connection with like spirits and with God, and like so and so. And she's like super religious. Like she always prays like before she eats, and then she like prays before she goes to sleep, and all these things. And she's Catholic, but and I'm Christian, but I don't feel like there's really a difference. But anyways, like so I was talking to her, right? For example, like let's say she's here. I was talking to her about like how I felt like she was an angel, and then how like God was communicating to me through her, and then she would tell me her background about like being spiritual and like religious, and then I kid you not, bro, behind me I hear a noise, and then I look back, and there you know like those Panda Express like phone boxes, there is like a phone box, not from Panda Express, it was like from a dining hall, and there's like this brown paper bag that was on top of it. And then when I heard the noise, I looked back, and it was like the brown paper bag just like rocking back and forth. And then I was like, oh shoot. And then I was so scared, like I grabbed the paper bag and then like stopped it from like rocking back and forth. And I look over to Anai, she's like, spirits. And then I still look at her, and she's like, good spirits. And then I was thinking about Renee, and I'm like, shoot, what if it's Renee? And then she was like, what if it's Renee? And I was like, oh shit, this is crazy. And then once she said that, I just had this urge to hug her again. And then, but instead of like sitting down and like hugging her, I feel like metaphorically, like hugging someone like on top of you, like higher, is like them being like more powerful. Mm-hmm. But then like when I hugged Anai, like I hugged her like that over her shoulders. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like someone at the same level as you, like a human being. And then I started crying again, like weeping, you know, like. And then Anai started talking again, and then the same thing happened. Like her voice changed, and then it literally felt like clearly like Renee was talking to me, and she was like I was saying, I felt a lot of regret towards her, like towards our relationship, because like there was this miscommunication, but it felt like she was saying like, don't feel sad, like she was saying like God sent Jesus to die for our sins and like forgive us all, and like just like I know how he forgave me, I forgive you, and I would always be there by your side. And like, but Anai was saying, I know she'll always be there by your side, but I was hearing like, I'll always be there by your side, helping you throughout the times, and like looking over you, and then blah blah blah. And then after that, bro, I was just like, dang, like be careful what you wish for, bro. Be careful what you wish for, because like that's like the turning point of what made me want to get closer to God.
Yeah, dude, I remember when I heard about that, I was like, and you shared it, and I was like, why did you share this? It's kind of messed up.
Share what?
The post.
Oh,
of,
yeah.
Like rest in peace, please, and
Yeah.
Whatever. So I was like, why did he share this dude? And I was like, wait, I remember he told me he was with this girl. Was it her? And then, like, as I started to, like, recognize her face more and more, I was like, dude, like, I felt bad for you. I was like, dude, no way. And I remember I told Yesenia about it. I was like, dude, like, that's pretty messed up. So, and I kept wanting to message you, but I was like, I don't know what to say. Nobody around me has died. Nobody is, like, passed away. I don't know, like, how to feel for him. And then I was like, no, but I have to say something, because if I don't say something, I know that I'm like
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like, not I didn't want to say something just because I'm your friend. I wanted to say something that was like more towards the situation, because I felt like you already got more, like,
I remember you saying that, like, you were like, you said something like, I'm sure you got like other people sending you condolences.
Yeah, like,
I don't want to be like.
Yeah, I don't want to be one of those people.
And then I forgot what you said, but like, it made me feel.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I said. I remember, so you were like, I knew you were gonna get a whole bunch of like, it'll be okay, like, it'll be fine, you're good.
Oh yeah.
And then I said, I don't want to be one of those people, but I do want to say that as long as she is in your head and you speak about her and you have all these stories to tell about her, she's not gonna be gone. Like,
that's true.
It's not the end. Like, just because somebody passes on, like, and you're not gonna see them anymore. Yeah, it sucks that they're not there with you, but just because they're not there with you physically doesn't mean that they're not somewhere up there or wherever they might be, watching over you, seeing what you do. And it's not like a creepy way, like they're not seeing like you go to the bathroom or anything, but every time you speak about them, they know. They have these,
and I like feel her, like,
energy, exactly. Her soul. You feel her energy.
It's crazy. But I was gonna say something. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm sure she, like, wherever she might be, dude, she misses you. I know you miss her. Like, yeah, for sure. Like, I'm sure if the way you speak about her, it seems that even though you guys left it on bad terms, she kind of wanted to fix things too. Or I don't know if she did, but like, if you wanted to fix things, there's no reason as to like why she wouldn't at least hear you out. And now that you're speaking about how, like, oh, I wish I would have said this, I wish I would have said that, she knows that, like, you regret and you miss her and you wish she was here, and then she probably wishes you were there to like tell you and like, I'm okay, I'm good, like, don't worry about it.
I dreamed about her like last night.
Dude, that's what I was gonna ask you.
Crazy.
Like, what happened? Do you remember it?
I hope like the viewers don't look at me weirdly, but basically, she used to work at Dunkin' Donuts, and then this was such a weird dream, but she used to work at Dunkin' Donuts, and for some reason I went to Dunkin' Donuts with my sister.
In the dream?
In the dream, yeah.
Okay.
And then, like, I go to Dunkin' Donuts, and then I see Renee, and I'm like, what the heck? And she gets closer, and she's like, Luis, like, hello, how are you? And I'm like, Renee, like, what the heck, like, why are you here? Like, I thought you were dead. Like, aren't you, like?
How long was this after she passed away? How long was it?
So this was like last night.
Oh shit! Damn.
Yeah, which is crazy that we're talking about her. But like, I saw her and I was like, can I hug you? And then I just like hugged her for a second. I don't know how long, but then like I let go, and then I was like how have you been? And then she was just like super happy, and then she was like, I've been good. And then like there's someone sitting down in the Dunkin' Donuts, and she was like, right, or something like that. And then, but I kept wanting to ask her like you're dead, aren't you? But like it never came out. And then she was just like doing her own little thing, and then she was like, how's college, blah blah blah. And then like she went to like the cash register to start working, and then I looked over to my sister, and then I'm like the words weren't coming out, but I was trying to basically say like, yo, like, how is she still alive? You know, like, is this for real? Like, does she not know that like there's a news article and like all her friends think she's dead? And I kept like leaning on my sister, and I'm like, yo, like, Yadira. But that's like what I was trying to say, like Renee, like, don't you know that people think you're dead? And like,
maybe that's why you couldn't say it in the dream.
Yeah,
she's not dead, dude.
Yeah, and I feel like now that I think about it, like, number one, like how I said that she was like super happy. I feel like now like she's in heaven and like she's just like super happy.
Yeah, you were saying she was all stressed out about school and stuff. She's calm now.
And then just like her being super positive towards me, like, also like makes me feel like she forgave me or something like that. But yeah, it's crazy.
That happens a lot with people who like pass away and they're close to you. They get like dreams about them.
Yeah.
My mom, when she was little or young, I should say, she used to. I can tell you 2 stories. First story was my grandma. So my grandma. She had her first daughter. I guess I don't remember how she died, but she died. So my mom has a sister that she never met, and she told me that my grandma was really depressed all the time. She didn't want to eat, and then one day she was sleeping, and like she was walking out on the street in her dream, and her daughter was just all dressed in white with wings, and like you said, she was like, hey, like come back, like and then the daughter's like, no, mommy, I'm okay, you're good, like don't worry about me, I'll be here, I'm gonna wait for you, like, it's okay. And after that, she felt good about it now. And then the other story that kind of messed with my mom a while was she used to take care of this kid, and they used to have this well in like their backyard, I guess you could say. And I guess out of nowhere the kid was playing around that well, and then they came out and they couldn't find him. They're like, hey, where is he? And like hours later, and my mom was in charge of watching that kid. Where is he? I can't find him. So they look inside the well, and there he is, just drowned or dead. And my mom felt super bad about that. And then I asked her, I was like, and how did like the parents take it of the kid? They're like, she said, surprisingly, I thought they were gonna hate me, but she said they didn't. They just said these things happen, and I get it. You're okay. And I guess after like the doctors reviewed what had happened, like I guess the kid hit his head hard enough to where it knocked him out, so he didn't even feel like drowned or anything. So. But
at least it was painless.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, it's still gonna mess with you. And ever since then, she's been really careful about like kids and stuff. She took care a lot of my nephew, and now that she watches my son, she's overprotective of him, and I get that. So,
but yeah, honestly, bro, like death is like, for me at least, it's been hard to like comprehend. Like, if you think that God doesn't exist or that heaven doesn't exist, but it's like it feels so comforting understanding death through like a spiritual, like religious, like eyes, because like you're not sad that they died. You're like super happy because now you know that they're in heaven with our Heavenly Father, which like sounds like super religious. I don't know if you're super religious, but like it makes me like super happy because now I know that she's with God, and like I'll be able to have a chance to be with God in the future. But the reason why I brought this up was because like maybe like your relationship with your dad isn't like super bad, or like, but honestly, bro, like you should like all the relationships I feel like that you have that aren't like really good with people, like you should try to like resolve those relationships or build them, because like tomorrow isn't guaranteed, you know, anything could happen.
Yeah, dude, you gave me something to think about.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something so
Oh yeah, sorry, I was gonna say, well, while you're thinking about it,
yeah.
Also, like, I feel like it hit me like super hard because, and I'm pretty sure it hasn't hit me as hard as like, let's say her mother or her sister.
Oh, for sure. It hit you differently.
But it hit me differently, you know, because like the love of a mother or a father or a sister or a friend is different from like the love of like a romantic relationship. Like I literally like kissed her and I cuddled her, you know, I hugged her and I went on dates with her, and just like that, although that feeling isn't like as strong as like her mother, let's say, it's still like different, and it's like my own. And it's like, I don't know if she had like another romantic partner, but but she was like the only, like for me at least, she was like the strongest, like she was like the strongest relationship I had with someone in a romantic way.
Do like I don't know what you say about all that. It's crazy to think because what I was gonna say is like you know how you say that having like something to look up to spiritually, whether it's God or Buddha or whatever it might be for you, whatever Asian people, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing that my mom says all the time, because she's Catholic and they're always doing this, you know, they're always having chains. Like I have my chain on right now. And, she like a whole bunch of people at her job tell her like, why do you have that crap? Why do you do that crap? Like that's not religion. Like just because you do that, you think God is with you? Like come on, like you idiot. That's not gonna do nothing. But the way she describes it to me, she's like, I don't care what they say about me. Like I don't care what they say about my religion. It makes me feel safe. That's all I care about. Like when I do this before I leave the car, or before I do this before I leave my home, I know I'm safe. In my mind, I think that whoever's up there is watching me. Just simply because I gave them thanks that, thank you, I'm alive. Please grant me another day. So the way she sees it is, just because like my religion does these things and all this, she doesn't do it for the religion. She does it because that's what makes her feel safe around like what she's doing.
Yeah. I feel like that's very interesting that you bring that up because like I have a theory about religion, or not a theory, just like a thought about religion, or just like the way I look at religion, is that I compare it to like exercise, because in exercise there's all these different ways that you can exercise. You can weight lift, you can power lift, you can wrestle, you can cycle, you can do aerobics, you can do anaerobics, you can swim, you can rock climb, you can ski, you can snowboard. Like there's hundreds of different ways that you can work out, and like even though they're all different, they're all improving your physical health regardless of like the different workouts,
the activity.
And like a person that wants to build muscle and like have a lot of muscle, they're gonna do bodybuilding, and they're not gonna go to like, let's say, cardio and running, like a marathon runner, because like they're gonna be super skinny and
they have a goal in mind that
they have a goal in mind. And so I feel like that's the same with religion. Like there's all these different all these different religions. There's Christianity, there's like LDS, there's Catholic, there's Islam, there's Hinduism, there's Sikh, there's like all these different like types of religions. And even though they're all different and they have different practices and they have different beliefs, they're all like feeding your spiritual needs and improving your spiritual health. So like maybe even like if you're atheist, like if that's your spiritual belief, then you can go for that. But I feel like we shouldn't really like diss on people just because they have a different religion or a different ideology. Like how people like diss on your mom, but like we should all just be accepting of each other.
Yeah, because that's what I always find like kind of weird. Like no matter what your religion is, doesn't like every religion at least teach you to like be kind to everybody? Yeah, because there's people, dude, this is the thing that always messes with me. There's people who always say, oh, I go to church every day, oh, I go every Sunday, every Tuesday, oh, here's like my Bible, here's whatever it might be, but they basically just like flex on how much they go to church, how much they praise God. But meanwhile, their kid hasn't eaten in like 3 days, they don't care about like other people, they're always getting mad at other people, they're yelling at their kid constantly.
Yeah.
I don't want to say God chooses people over others, but like I would think that somebody who doesn't go to church but does right by their family and does what they have to that they think is right to better themselves, their situation, their family, themselves, whatever it might be. I think that they at least have a better like God sees them in a better way than other people, simply because like, well, maybe he doesn't praise me, but at least he's not beating his kid every day. And I think we are I don't know how to say it right, because I don't want to say we're like higher than people, because like everybody's equal.
More
moral, like, yeah, I guess, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like I think God prefers, and I don't want to say prefers either, I don't know the right word, but you guys will probably know what I'm saying. So he prefers people who do what they have to and try to do right by their lives, and not go to church every day, they might not even have a religion or whatever, than people who praise God every day and aren't doing the best that they can to, like, take care of their kids or take care of their home or whatever it might be. Because I've seen a lot of those people that are like, oh, my religion's everything, yeah, I do this, I do that. Well, yeah, but, like, your life ain't shit. Like, you're not doing much to improve your life, and meanwhile, I'm here, like, working every day. And even though I can't go to, like, or maybe I could go, but I don't know, maybe. Well, anyways, I haven't gone to praise God as much as I should, or I haven't done this, like, I can't. I just think that's better than being a shitty person and going to church every day. Don't you think that's the case?
What I believe is that, in my beliefs, like, I'm not trying to, like, put my beliefs on you or tell you, yeah, like, this is fact, like, this is what I believe. Facts, I'm, like, telling you that this is, like, what I believe. Is that I believe that God is perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
But churches and people are not perfect.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, a congregation or a church, like, they could have their practices, but even the leaders or even the people of that church, like, they could be imperfect. Like, for example, in your hypothetical situation, like, a person that goes to church a lot and, like, praises God and carries their Bible with them and, like, prays a lot and, like, sings in the church, like, they could have these imperfections and, like, not take care of their kids and beat their kids and all these things and, like, miss their rent or doesn't take the initiative to, like, find a better job. But I feel like those instances in churches are, like, rare, but when they do happen, they're, like, loud, and so then people take that person and then use that as an example of the entire church. But I believe that, like, church makes people and, like, people congregating together, like, makes people, like, more ethical or more moral. Because, like, I was actually talking to my parents about this, that, like, in Utah, like, since it's, like, an LDS state and, like, super religious, right? Like, I feel like it's super peaceful and, like, and it's been more peaceful than, like, in the past, but I feel like the people here are super nice and, like, there's not a lot of violence or, like, drugs or crime or, like, all these other things. And I feel like it's because of the LDS church and how much power and influence that they've had in the state, and they could be. I feel like it's also been bad, but I feel like it's mostly been positive. But yet again, they're not perfect either. So I feel like you can be a moral person, an ethical person without church. Yeah, but I feel like a good way to improve that area of your life is by going to church.
We're not trying to diss on anybody, by the way. If you don't go to church or whatever, we don't care. Like, that's you. We don't have anybody in mind. Dude, but I don't know. It's so crazy to, like, there's so many people out there who, like, try to push religion on you all the time. And there's so many people that came up to me and, like, you don't go to church? No. Like, why? Like, if you tell somebody you don't go to church, it's like you're Satan, dude. Like, yeah. Dude, has it? Well, I don't know if that's happening to you because you go to church, but
I don't go to church anymore.
You're more religious than I am, probably.
Yeah.
So, and like a lot of people ask, like, or they're probably gonna ask me, and they have asked me, like, are you gonna take your kid to church? And I'm like, well, two things. It depends on the mom. Like, if she wants to, sure, let's do it. I'm down to do it. Before we had the kid, we went, and, like, I didn't. If you're listening to this, you know who you are. Like,
that's what I'm scared of.
Yeah, it's not that I didn't want to go. It's just I've never gone really, so I just felt a little uncomfortable. But it's cool. I had, like, a good time. So we went, and and she was more into it than I was. I don't know any of the sayings. I don't know any of the prayers. So I was like, oh, like, pretty much in my mind.
You went to a Catholic church?
Yeah, I went to a church. And this is what I was saying in my mind, basically. I was like, I don't know if you're real. And I don't know if this is real. I don't know if what I'm doing is right. I don't know if what I'm doing is wrong. And if there's some higher power out there and it's watching over me and you believe that what I'm doing is right, like, please just give me the power that I need Give me the strength that I need to be a good dad and try to do my best. And I might not have everything right now, but please, like, help me do what I need to do to be the dad that I want to be. And so far, I mean, it's going off pretty good. Like yeah, there's been rough patches here and there, but so far I've gone through them. And right now I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. And
I believe that.
Yeah, I have. And like, I didn't. Since I went there, like people will ask me like, "Are you gonna take your kid to church?" I'm like, "Well, I'm definitely not gonna push it on him, because I feel like there's a lot of people, especially like you see it. I don't want to diss anybody, but like you see a lot of LDS people that, like, right after they get out of their parents' control, they go off and party. They're off like piping
like,
every chick.
They're like church.
Yeah, and then they
mission.
And then once they get like that escape from the parents of the church, then that's when they go crazy. Yeah, and then they do the things that they've always wanted to do, but now that they have freedom, I don't have to worry about my parents anymore. So I don't want to be that parent that's pushing the kids to do all that. I want to be the parent that's like, hey, maybe you want to study Buddhism, maybe you want to do like practice something else, maybe you don't want to practice anything, but just know that whatever your thoughts are and whatever you want to do, that's not going to stop me from being your dad. I'm going to try my best to be the dad that I want to be, the dad that you need from me, and I will do my best. And it doesn't matter if you're gay, it doesn't matter if you want to do whatever you want to do with your life, unless it's like something bad, but that's a different conversation. But basically, you're your own person. I know that I made you, but I'm not going to force anything on you, because the more I force things on you, you're probably not going to want to do them. So you're saying like, oh, next state champ. Yeah, I do want him to be a state champ. But I'm not going to be like, oh, wrestling's going to be your life from now on. I don't want to live through my kid. I want to live with my kid, I guess you could say. I want to experience the joys of being a dad. I want to experience the accomplishments he makes, not the ones that I want him to make. Because ultimately, it's his life. It's not mine. I'm living my life my way. He's living his life his way. And I mean, I speak about him like he's older, but he's like a baby. He's like a baby. But this is just the things that go through my mind every day when somebody asks me like, how's it being a dad and stuff.
Yeah, and I've noticed that too. Like when I'm like, I always say like, future state champ, and you're like, if he wants to be.
Yeah, if he wants to be, like.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm gonna like put some wrestling on here and there, and I'm gonna like, dude, your dad used to do this, you should try it. Of course, I'm gonna encourage him to do everything.
And your uncle wrestled.
Yeah, your uncle wrestled. Look at this.
State champ.
Yeah, your yeah, everybody wrestled. Like, you should try it. And I'm sure he's gonna get into it, but maybe he's like, Dad, I tried it. I just want him to try everything, anything he wants to. Yeah. Maybe he's like, dude, I feel like, Dad, wrestling's not my thing, but I really like art. Okay, let's try it. Yeah. Dad, art's not really my thing, but I kind of like the guitar. Okay, we have one right here. Let's try it. I don't know. It just.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good philosophy, but like you shouldn't sway too like hard into like, son, like you should do like whatever you want, like explore,
yeah. Of course, like put boundaries.
You should guide them.
Yeah, guide them exactly.
Like, oh, I wrestle. Like, I want you to wrestle. But if you don't like wrestling, like
let's explore other options.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like,
like I said, I don't want I'm not gonna be the dad that's like, do whatever you want. I don't care. Because that's just gonna push him to do something that's really bad. Yeah. Can we pause real quick? Yeah. Go ahead.
I go to the restroom.
Wait, we're not gonna pause. But
no. Okay.
I'll keep talking. I'll keep talking.
Okay. All right.
Dude, you know where it is, right? Well, it's just right in front of you. Hey guys, we got Ramirez on. I don't even know how long we've been doing this podcast. It's been a while. I might end it in a bit. Like, what a crazy guy, huh? I've known him for so long. He was my good friend. I know how to end this podcast perfectly, actually. I'll bring it up when he comes back. So, I'll just bring it up now. So, there was this one point when I think we were in like 7th grade, maybe 8th grade, and we went to Walmart with our intention to steal something. And I'll just leave it at that, and then I'll bring it up again when he comes back. But yeah, we've been wanting to do this podcast for a while actually, but I wanted to do it last week, but it just our schedules didn't work out or whatever. But I'm glad I have him on now. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and we'll try to end it off on a good note here when he comes back. But again, you guys can go watch these on Castbox. They're on YouTube now, and they're on Facebook as well. Oh, you didn't close the door. Can you close the door, please? Thank you. No, not that door. The other door.
Oh.
Dude, I was telling him I know how to end this podcast now.
Oh.
The story of when you and I went to Walmart.
Oh shit.
Oh.
I think you should tell it.
Dude, so we were in the tracks one day and we're like, hey man, like, do you have money? No, I don't have money.
Okay, so I want to go back. Yeah, you can like call back into that.
Yeah, go ahead.
But basically, like, we have this friend. I don't want to expose.
No, don't expose.
Okay,
just say this.
I was gonna say this name, but we have this friend, and like, he's a common friend. Like, we both know him, and like, we saw him like steal a lot, and like, first I think it was just like candy and stuff, but then like he started like stealing like beats from the Apple store, and we're like, yo, like that's sick. Like, how'd you do it? And then he like inspired us, and then go ahead.
So after he told us that, and like he said, he inspired us. It's not a good inspiration, but he inspired us to go steal something. So we're like, you have money? No, I don't. Do you have money? No. Fuck it then. Like, let's just do it. And we're like, what are we gonna steal? Like, are you hungry? I mean, I can use the candy. So we went to we went to Walmart. I won't say which one, just in case we're still banned from there. We were banned from there. But.
No.
So, dude, I went recently to that Walmart.
Really? It feels so weird.
Dude, it's nasty. Like, we went there. We went to go buy groceries yesterday, actually, and it just smelled like mayonnaise. There was like homeless people everywhere. Like, it was bad. But anyway, so we're like, let's go steal candy.
And we looked heck suspect. Because didn't we both shave our heads?
Yeah,
too?
we shaved our heads.
We shaved our heads. And we had hoodies on.
Oh
too.
my god, dude. We were like,
we were
just asking to be caught. Yeah, we were just asking to be caught. So we went and we're like, oh, let's go. Let's walk around first to not look so suspicious. But that was probably even more suspicious. So we're like, let's see what candy they got. Ooh, they got some gummies. Ooh, they got this. So we stuck it in our pants. And as we were walking out, I saw a camera, and I was like, oh, that caught me. I know it caught me. So I kind of want to mess with them. So I reached into my pocket and pulled out the charger I had, and it was my charger. So I put it back. And then we were going to walk out, and they're pretty sneaky about it, dude. There was like this couple walking, and they were walking out, and then out of nowhere, when we were gonna walk out, they're like, "Hey, come with me."
And he grabbed us from like, he grabbed me from the lower back, and he's like, "Follow me."
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I didn't even notice him. He was just like chilling.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like this
tall,
a couple, like a swollen guy or something like that.
It was like a couple.
And, like,
they
a
crazy.
female, yeah, and then they're just like chilling there, standing there, and then as we were about to like approach the doors and like get out, boom, they got us. But through like my experience, so like yeah, we were just like walking around to like not look suspicious, but we were looking like super suspicious. And then I don't know if you remember, but like we would go down the aisles to see if like they were free. But there's in each aisle there's like someone like putting like an employee putting in like products, and they're like, and then I don't know if you remember, but then we were like, oh, let's go to the next aisle, and the next aisle, and the next aisle, and then we found like an open aisle.
Yeah.
And then we went, or I think we went back and we were like after like we're just gonna go to this one. And it was the candy aisle, and then we got candy, and then we went to like the clothing section. I don't know if you remember that, to avoid the cameras, and then that's when we put it like under our pants. But
no, we should have done. We should have gone to the changing room.
We should have just like walked through the door, because I think going into the clothing area is what made us.
Oh, maybe yeah.
We should have just like gone to like the checkout or something.
Oh,
you know, or just like.
We're not trying to teach you how to steal, but if you're gonna steal, like.
Yeah.
Self-checkout is probably the way to go, and it's pretty gnarly, dude. They have like cameras everywhere with like yellow things following you.
There's, like, a whole bunch of screens.
Yeah.
And they can move the cameras.
So you're trying to steal from Walmart, it's probably not a good idea, but you can probably do it better than us.
Yeah. Go on the story though.
So after that, we got in trouble with the parents, and they're like, if your parents don't come, you're gonna get arrested. We're like, fuck, I don't want to get in trouble with my parents. They're not there. And they're like, well, shit, they're not. Like, call them right now. And we're like, fuck, fine. So my mom came and she's like, oh yeah, I know the parents of this dude. We can. I got them both.
But I called my mom and she didn't answer. I think she was working. And then he was just like, call her again. And I called her again, didn't answer. Called her again, didn't answer. And I was like, shoot, like I'm getting arrested. You know, they're gonna send me to jail. I'm getting in a lot of trouble. And I think your mom felt like super like worried about me and sad.
Yeah.
And then she kept like pushing like, yo, like I can take them. I know your parents. And then at first like the guy was kind of like, I don't know if I should do that. But then.
Dude, they weren't gonna take us to jail, honestly.
I don't know.
They were just trying to scare us.
Yeah.
I mean, it was scary at the time, but... So anyway, so we got, like, a lecture, and they're like, don't ever do that shit again, and then we're like, alright, we won't. And, I mean, I guess we pretty much learned from it. I mean,
I never stole again.
Dude, no, I accidentally have.
Really?
Yeah, now with my son, we put him on a cart, and then we take a separate cart, and sometimes we'll load things up on that cart, and they get hidden under his seat.
Oh yeah.
So we don't know it's there.
Yeah.
We've like stolen so many things just because they're there.
That's funny.
And I don't mean to. Like we're always like, fuck, we forgot to pay for this. And I was like, well, we already bought like $200 worth of stuff. It's fine if they lose like $10.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, this has been a long one.
Yeah. I want to talk about one more thing though.
One more thing? All right, go ahead.
Please fast, because you said that you didn't want to go to school after high school, so higher education.
Yeah, I don't.
Like college. Why do you not want to go to?
I just don't feel like it's for me. Like,
but
maybe.
Why don't you think it's?
No. I don't want to say I don't want to go to a higher education school because, like, when I think of higher education school, I mean college. Like, just college in general. But that doesn't mean I don't want to go to like a little trade school. Because I always wanted to learn electrical engineering. But if I am gonna go back to school, it'll probably be like little, what do you call those? Tech schools. Yeah, I just want to go to a little tech school. I don't want to do like a whole college thing.
Yeah.
Like I want to do like, you know how tech schools like they basically get you a job right after you do whatever you do. Yeah, I want to do that. I don't want to. So I do want to go to school after, just not like do the whole college thing. Yeah. That's good. So I didn't mean like I don't want to further my education because I do just. Right now, my situation doesn't call for it or whatever.
Yeah. This is like my stance, like with higher education or like with school. I feel like college isn't for everyone, and like not everyone should go to college, because there's actually 34 million Americans that dropped out of college that are over the age of 25, and that's like 10% of the entire U.S. population.
How much is the U.S., do you know?
I think it's like 240 million.
And you said how many? 35, 34?
34 million Americans dropped out of college.
Like 10%?
Yeah. So it's like crazy, bro. And like in higher education, there's a 60% graduation rate, which means that like 40% of people.
That's pretty good though.
Drop out.
It's pretty good.
You think so? Ranger had like an 81%.
Is that the most they've had? I think our class is the most they've had.
Maybe. I would believe it.
Yeah, I would believe it too.
But like 60%, bro.
That's pretty good though. More than half, a little more than half. I think that's good.
Bro, if it was half, you'd like flip a coin, and then if you get heads, you would graduate. If you get tails,
half is okay. Like that's not good. That's not bad. 60%, that's a little good.
If you guess so. But the bad thing is that these 34 million Americans is 10% of the population. The majority of them, once they like drop out of college, they have thousands of dollars in student loan debt.
Oh yeah,
and they can't pay it off because like if they would have graduated from college, they would have had like a higher paying job. But like for example, now that they didn't finish college, but they are working at McDonald's trying to pay off like $20,000 in student loan debt. And like I've heard about like the student loan debt crisis.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't know how big it is, and like that's how big it is. It's like.
Did you apply for a student loan?
No,
don't do it.
I didn't.
Don't do it.
I highly.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't apply for student loans.
Yeah, don't do it. But like find money another way, but don't do it.
Yeah, and even like in higher education, like for example, for bachelors, the ideal time to finish with a bachelor's degree is 4 years.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like becoming 6.
Fuck, really? Jesus.
And even with like an associate's degree, like in community colleges, I think like only like 40% get an associate's degree in community colleges within like 6 years.
Well, that's not always the case. So like sometimes like they'll get this like, I don't know, photography degree. What are you gonna do with that? No, there's already enough photographers in the world.
That's true. You don't even need a degree to become a photographer.
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but like I have this photography degree.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like just because you get a degree in something doesn't mean you're always gonna get a job after. Mm-hmm. And that's what's like ruining a lot of people too. Like they get like degrees that they don't use. Mm-hmm. So like you said, they have this student debt that's fucking them, and and it's not because they can't get it. I mean, it's not because they didn't put in the work to get that degree. It's because they can't get work after it.
Yeah. Basically, what I was trying to say with this, right, with like 34 million Americans dropping out of college instead of graduating in 4 years, graduating in 6, a whole bunch of student loan debt, is that like, even though I'm going to college and like I highly encourage other people to go to college, I like don't believe that college is for everyone. Mm-hmm. But regardless of what you do after high school, I feel like no matter what way it is, like you should always continue to learn and never stop learning. Mm-hmm. And like it's good for you that you do these podcasts because you can learn from like other people.
Yeah, I learned a lot about you today.
Me and Junior, thank you. Me, Junior, and like people in the future. I don't know if you're thinking about interviewing. Mm-hmm. That's a surprise.
Yeah.
But like you'll be able to learn all these things and like pick out like the good things and like take out the not so good things and then apply them to your life and be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna start doing this and this and this.
Well, yeah, just and now like, you gave me a different outlook on my dad.
Yeah, bro. I would recommend you to improve that relationship. But yeah, but whether like you want to travel somewhere and learn from travel, go to college, or go to trade school, or join the military, like or like just like work at a job and then learn from that, and then like move up. Like you should always continue to learn, and that's my philosophy. Like Oprah Winfrey, for example, I don't think she ever went to college.
Yeah,
and like when she started in television, like people would tell her like you're not gonna be fit for television because you don't look
garbage.
Yeah, because you're garbage. You don't look good for television.
Yeah, you're ugly and gross. Yeah.
Boom, she started her own TV show, and then since her like TV show is her interviewing other people, like she was able to learn from other people. Like, she's like I think the richest woman in the United States, which is crazy. But
yeah, dude, it's been a long one. Go to school, kids. Yes. Take care of yourselves, and it was nice to have you on the podcast, dude. It was a long one. We'll see when we do this again.
Yes.
And we'll see you, everybody. Thank you for watching.
God bless you.